Talk to you soon. Let's go live to Melbourne now. Liberal MP Tim Wilson joins me. First of all, this John Setka post yesterday. Michelle Rowland was critical of that herself this morning, a senior Labor figure saying it wasn't appropriate to be sending that sort of message out on Father's Day of all days. What are your thoughts on that this morning?
Well, John Setka's tweet is despicable, and it's despicable in a way that most Australians would never accept that sort of conduct, to use children as puppets designed to push political messages. Whenever that happens, Australians have always seen it as despicable, and they should. The real question is, for people like Michelle Rowland, like for Bill Shorten, is are they going to hold people like John Setka to account? What John Setka has just demonstrated to the whole nation is the importance of the ABCC and the importance of making sure that lawless unions don't get a free rein, because not only are they prepared to do the wrong thing on work sites, they're even prepared to do the wrong thing in their own family arrangements.
Tim Wilson, what's your response to the suggestion by Michelle Rowland this morning that the government should tread carefully, because if you're going to hold Labor to account for everything their donors do, i.e. the CFMEU, then you need to also be held accountable for the big end of town and donations from those sectors. What do you say in response to that?
What a complete load of rubbish. What we know is that the Australian Labor Party is the political arm of the ACTU and the trade union movement. Labor has a direct connection to the CFMEU, to John Setka. John Setka is Bill Shorten's mate, and they have to make sure they stand up and hold him accountable for his conduct. And what we've seen from unions, and particularly the CFMEU, is lawless conduct year on year. That's what's justified the ABCC. The question, the ball is now in Bill Shorten's court. Will he stand up and hold the CFMEU and John Setka for account, not just for this conduct, but their other conduct across Australia?
Let's turn our attention to a few other issues and developments this morning. The Prime Minister, Mr Morrison, chose his first major broadcast interview with one of his predecessor's fiercest critics, Alan Jones, and was asked about the various gripes of those, I guess, that have been described as being from the Liberal Party base, and Mr Jones putting that to Scott Morrison this morning, from Paris, concerns around the Paris Agreement to other matters. He says he believes they will give him a chance, but he's not backing away from those Paris commitments. He said quite simply he doesn't see how doing or getting out of that would reduce prices. He says his focus is 100% on reducing power bills. Do you think that will fly with that cohort that people say the Liberal base represents?
What ScoMo is doing is showing a clear position of strength about the government's position around its commitments internationally, but more critically, its focus squarely on getting electricity prices down. What we have with him and a new minister is a very clear focus about what we expect to be done in terms of policy to improve the lives and outcomes of Australians. And that's what the Prime Minister did in the opening statements he made as Prime Minister, is say we're on the side of Australians and for Australians. And so you're going to see the policies necessary to do that and to deliver it for the Australian people.
It's been such a tough affair, obviously, to go through as a Member of Parliament. These leadership changes always come with their transactional costs and bitterness. But I guess it's on show again, front page of the Herald Sun in your hometown of Melbourne today, with this $7.6 billion infrastructure plan approved by Malcolm Turnbull, now leaked in totality to the Herald Sun and being reported today. So this sort of gazumps any chance that Morrison might have to make a one-by-one announcement to maximise the political impact. This is another crack within the leadership tension, isn't it?
What this plan shows is that the Morrison government has a very clear plan for delivering for the infrastructure for the Australian people. What we've got a plan is to deliver the critical infrastructure throughout the whole southeast of Australia, to make sure that people can get to work on time, they're not spending too much time in their cars, so they can do what they need to do at home, at work, and to make sure they get home and spend time in their families. The release of information was unfortunate, but the choice is between a release of information and making sure that Australians get the infrastructure they need to manage with a growing population and supporting them throughout their stages of life. I'll always go with outcomes that deliver that for the Australian people.
But it goes to the point of how divided the party is now, and we know that your colleague and friend Julia Banks had made claims about bullying and so on during the leadership tussle here in Canberra. It's a very big ask for Scott Morrison to try and heal this party, given some of those enmities that really continue there.
Well, the choice confronting all Liberal MPs, myself, all my colleagues in Victoria and across the country, is are we going to unite and focus to make sure we can deliver for the Australian people, or are we going to be divided and have the choice of having an alternative Labor government led by Bill Shorten and John Setka and all of their mates, where they will tax and overspend and punish the Australian people to try and deliver their agenda? I'm on the side of unity. I'm on the side of the Australian people and delivering the outcomes that the Australian people need so that we can build this nation for the 21st century.
Tim Wilson, appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.